everybody is well. Today we have two guest chefs. Steve is on vacation for a few days, and we thought it might be nice to have two people come in and work today. And today we have Laura Jean. Laura Jean works at Blackstone Valley Community Action, and she's also involved with the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, which provide many volunteer opportunities for the residents in the Blackstone Valley area.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
And our other guest chef today is our own Patrice Doherty.
Hi, Steve.
How are you? It's so nice to have you here today.
Hello.
So today I'm going to be here observing and maybe learning how to use the camera. And we're going to be doing two types of lasagna today. We're going to have a red lasagna and we're going to have a white lasagna. And they're going to explain everything that they're going to do, and I can't wait to taste it.
Okay, now get out of our way. So, you want me to start?
Yes,
okay.
please do.
So, as Steve mentioned, I'm Laura Jean Ferranti. I'm the project director for the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program. So I'm here today doing, I guess what you would call a traditional Italian lasagna. And we also want to remind any of our volunteers who are watching, if you have a recipe that you'd like to share with us here at the center, we'd love to highlight some of our volunteers on this show. We hope you're enjoying these segments. So, if anybody has been watching, you saw the video that was posted of me jarring fresh tomato sauce with some friends and family. So, both Patrice and I are going to be using this fresh tomato sauce that was made. Okay, so my red sauce is here. I guess I'm just going to explain a little bit about how I made this sauce. This is mine. Okay. So this I actually made on Sunday for my family. I made a gravy, as you would call it, or a sauce. I call it gravy. I know there's a lot of back and forth about what you're supposed to call it, but that's what my family calls it. So what I did was I started with the base of the tomatoes, some onion and fresh garlic and parsley, and I actually cooked the meat in the red sauce. So I did, in this particular sauce, I did sausage, I did some pork ribs, and some big chunks of pepperoni, because that's how my husband likes the gravy. And then I made meatballs, and all of that meat cooked in this red sauce. So at the end of the day, all the leftover meatballs I ground up, threw back in the sauce, and froze it, which is nice because then you can use it whenever you want. So that's what I'm going to use to make my gravy today. All right, so this is just going to be the meat sauce and some ricotta cheese. So I'm going to start by getting my cheese ready to go into lasagna. So I use the Supreme. You can use whatever. I personally like the Narragansett Creamery, but I didn't buy that today. So I'm going to put this whole container in here because I have a really big pan that I'm using, but generally you don't really need this much. You know what, Steve, actually, do you have those eggs for me?
I certainly do.
2 eggs, please. All right, so in my bowl, ricotta cheese, I'm gonna season it with salt and pepper, just a little bit of salt because there's a lot of salt in the meat and the cheese as well.
Excuse me, Patrice.
Absolutely. A little bit more to come out there. Oh. You know what? I'm just gonna open the whole thing. All right. Some coarse pepper. I'm going to put some fresh parsley that I chopped. I just prefer fresh parsley. I chopped a lot. I'm going to save the rest for the end to make it look pretty. And then I am going to put 2 eggs in this just to bind it when it goes into the lasagna, because otherwise it gets runny and drippy and nobody likes a runny lasagna. Right? Garbage. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna mix this all together now. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna add a little garlic powder to this too. I use garlic powder in everything. You could even put fresh garlic in it if you want. really a easy thing to do, especially if you have some sauce in the freezer or some leftovers. And you know, lasagna is very versatile. You can make it however you would like, as you're gonna see, because Patrice is gonna do a little bit more of a French take on her lasagna, but a white lasagna. A white lasagna.
It's white and red.
Right.
Right.
Anything with cheese and meat, I mean, really, pasta, how can you go wrong? So this, I'm just kind of mixing all together. As you can see, it's kind of like gotten a little more fluffy, and that's what we want to see. All right. So, I am going to need one bowl. Sorry, I'm going to cut that out. Don't worry. I just don't want to use these egg bowls. It's fine because... All right, so I'm going to begin to assemble my lasagna here. What I am using today are these oven-ready lasagna sheets by Gorilla. They make them, different companies make them. You don't have to boil them first, because that can be like the most difficult part of the lasagna making process, because then you're gonna drain them, hope they don't rip, the whole thing. So, right? Penny's here too.
Observing.
Observing, and she's
Watching
here for the
and learning.
tasting. Yeah. So I have my sauce. I'm gonna start with. So I'm just gonna do a little layer of the meat sauce on the bottom of this pan, just to kind of coat the pan.
That sauce looks delicious.
Thank you. Usually it's about a cup of sauce, depending on your preference.
Now, see, to me, I would call that a gravy.
This is a gravy.
More than,
Thank you.
More than
because the meat, I think, right? I don't know if that's
and
good.
maybe the coloring.
The coloring, yeah. There is, like, when you cook all the meat in the sauce, it winds up being a rather greasy sauce, depending on how you like it. I like that because then I get my bread and I dip it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I'm just gonna line the bottom with some
And you have the
sheets.
oven ready noodles, correct?
Oven ready, yeah. All right. Now there is no right or wrong way to do this. Just make them fit. They do stretch a little bit as they cook, so you don't have to worry about them going all the way to the ends of the pans. That was one thing that used to really stress me out when I first started doing this. All right, so I have my first layer. Then I'm gonna do another layer of sauce here. All right, so that looks like it's gonna be my last layer. I'm gonna do a little bit more here. And I am going to douse this in cheese again.
Ooh.
So this is gonna go on like 375 for about 25 minutes, which really isn't that bad, because if you don't have to cook the pasta, I mean, how quick does that? And that's it.
Very nice.
It's gonna go in the oven. Oh, it's heavy. It's definitely heavy.
Hi, I'm Patrice, and I'm an assistant care to the staff at Aging Well. My recipe today is a white lasagna. It's lasagna bolognese with bechamel. I will now show you how to make the bechamel. For a white sauce, you want the flour and the butter over the heat for about 2 minutes. No more than that. If you're making a darker gravy, then you would brown. But for this one here, it needs to stay, we need to cook the flour because you never want to eat raw flour. And I'm going to slowly pour milk and cream mixture. Whisking quickly. Get a lot of time, so you don't want clumping. I like to go back with my spatula and go into all the corners and make sure I get everything. And then go back with the whisk and break that up to a slow rolling boil. And I think we're just about there. If I had to estimate, I'd say it was about 12 minutes. Let's see. So I did forget to tell you that I add a generous handful of shredded Parmesan cheese. And because I'm going to go 2 of these smaller handfuls. We'll whisk that in.
And I'll pull it out.
All right, so we're back. So now we have our ingredients. We have our bechamel. It's thickened now. We have our meat sauce. And we have our lasagna noodles. So our lasagna noodles are an oven-ready noodle. So we're just going to start building at this point. And I pretty much have everything laid out. So the way this recipe lays out is your meat is broken into thirds. So just think, whatever you have in here, just kind of cull it out third. There's no math to it. Just do the best you can in counting thirds. Same thing with the sauce. The beginning, the layout, it suggests that you lay a light layer of bechamel. The other option is if you're not into laying the layer of bechamel, you could just coat with a light coating of olive oil. So with this recipe, they do suggest that you try not to overlap and just try to fit and keep everything as one single layer. So in this case, I can tell that I'm definitely going to struggle towards one end or the other. But quite honestly, as far as the looks, you're not going to see anything on the very bottom of your lasagna. So this one I happen to preset, and I'm just going to show you that just as simple as that, you've pretty much covered the very bottom of your first layer. So on top of your first layer goes your meat sauce. So you're going to think 1/3 of meat sauce. So I'm looking at that, and for me, my eye thinks that that looks like just about 3 cups. So to make life a little easier for me, I'm going to measure out a cup. So this meat sauce is a little different than the typical Italian sauce, and it looks like I'm a little shy here. I'm going to take a tad more. This meat sauce has different spices, more of your traditional French style spices, allspice, a little bit of nutmeg, those types of spices that you would find more in a meat pie, or a little bouillette in ragu, which is another French recipe. So it definitely has a different scent to it, more of a fall type.
It does, really. It smells very
It's very
good.
aromatic.
Yes, it is.
That's great.
More and some of my blind spots here. So I've pretty much covered all of that. To that, believe it or not, 1/3 of the sauce. And it does look odd, but once it all starts to bake, it acts as its own type of cheese sauce, basically what it is. And Laura Jean and I were speaking earlier regarding bechamel, white sauce, and Laura Jean, you were saying that when you make your sauce, you tend to...
So a lot of times, you could really use that for macaroni and cheese too, which is really good. So my kids like macaroni and cheese. It's really easy to make, as you saw in the previous video. Once you have that milk mixture, you can really throw any kind of cheese you want in there. Throw it over pasta and you have homemade macaroni and cheese. So I'll put like cheddar in there sometimes, or even if you just use the Parmesan cheese, you can turn it into like almost like an Alfredo sauce too. It's very versatile. It's very good.
Sounds very good. Just the sauce alone makes you kind of want to grab a spoon and.
Steve, you can this.
And the very top, it's all about cheese. So don't worry what your final looks like. This is a cup of mozzarella, and of course you can add more or less. And we're all about cheese. And for me, it's a couple of good handfuls of this grated palm. The oven's preheated to 350. This begins in the oven with an aluminum foil tent over the top. 1/2 hour. After the half hour, we remove the foil, and at that point, it's about browning. So it's really all about what you're looking for. After the end of my half hour, I go another 10-15 minutes, and if that's still not brown enough, you can turn the broiler on and go another 3-4 minutes on broil.
I'm gonna do one more thing while lasagna is cooking. No, you cannot go home. So I'm gonna make a quick focaccia bread to go on the side of our lasagna. How does that sound?
That sounds delicious.
Let's hope it all turns out good. I got this recipe from my mother. Very easy. I have dough from D. Palmieri's Bakery in Johnston. I happen to live in Johnston. There's a lot of bakeries, but there's some decent bakeries in the area here where you can buy dough, really good dough. So I'm going to show you what I have here. Okay, so I have my dough. I have olive oil, basil. These are all dried. Parsley, garlic powder, and I need salt and pepper and grated cheese. So really easy. Okay, just gonna put like a whole ton of olive oil. See, I measure like things so well, don't I? See, a whole lot of olive oil at the bottom of the pan. Then I'm going to add some salt. Not that much salt. Some pepper. I'm going to add parsley. I'm going to add garlic powder.
Powder?
Garlic powder.
So if I was to put a measurement, I'd say they were 1/4 teaspoon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And
I
I believe the olive oil may have been 1/4 to maybe 1/3 of a cup.
And this is the basil, okay? So then I'm also gonna do.
It smells delicious.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
It smells like focaccia bread, doesn't it? Some grated cheese here.
I do have some pounded, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Why
Right
not?
ahead,
Yeah. All right. Because I mean, who doesn't want cheese?
That's right.
So it's all in there. Now I'm just gonna kind of get it all put together in the bottom of the pan, which it'll look like, I don't know if you can see it, but
Looks like a dipping oil.
yeah, it smells great. Looks great. So then, taking my dough out. Sorry. You're such a lovely assistant.
That's right.
All right. So this is about 1 pound, and to be honest with you, this is going to make enough for like probably 2 or 3 people. If you are doing it for your family, you want to do like probably 2 pounds on 1 cookie sheet or 1 pan. So I'm just gonna put it in here, and I'm pressing it into the sauce.
So does the olive oil prevent the dough from re-rising?
No, it will rise.
It will rise.
Yeah, it will rise a little bit more. So, but you want to get like those holes in there when you're doing it with your fingers.
But not all the way through, right?
Not all the way through.
Okay.
Just like they're like ridges, I guess. Then I'm gonna flip it over.
Wow.
Look at that. And I'm gonna do the same here. This one is really super simple, and it's very impressive to people if you're having someone over and you whip out a nice homemade focaccia
I
bread.
have to remember that.
Okay, now we're gonna throw this right in the oven.
I can do that for you,
All
Laura
right,
Jean.
and then once the other part of it
Laura Jean,
is-
how long would you like to have that in for?
give me like 10 minutes, and then what I'll do is flip it over. So you have to flip it over midway through cooking.
Okay.
So we'll see how it comes out. So we're back and we're done. Actually, it didn't take very long at all, about a half hour, I would say. All right. And I'm gonna cut into this focaccia bread, which really came out amazing. Just take a look at that. Even better is the bottom. It's dripping with delicious olive oil. So I'm gonna cut this. So what I do is just cut it into squares. Am I in the right spot? Oh yeah.
Look at that.
Crunch. Okay. I guess I'll do a couple of big pieces. And Steve, you gonna sample? Who's sampling today?
I don't have a problem sampling.
Nor do I.
Okay.
Come on back. Do you prefer an end or a middle?
Oh, I like the end.
Okay.
I'll take one of the middles.
All right.
I'm just gonna get some utensils.
There you go.
Look at that.
So normally you want your lasagna to sit a little bit, but because we're on camera, we're not gonna wait that long. So we're gonna start cutting it up.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
So let's go here first. Find out.
I hope my pan did the trick today.
It
I love that
did.
pan.
Pan is very nice. Okay. Show it all up the side here. You gonna have some?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
We have to try the other one too.
That
So
looks
let's see.
delicious.
Oh yeah, it's good.
It sure does.
All right, now let's
Look,
do
Jane, can I have half of that? Because I'm going to try
both.
Patrice's as well.
Okay. I was gonna get the whole piece anyway.
Okay.
We don't do half pieces.
Okay.
There's a big lasagna. There's plenty.
And you said an end piece for your.
That'd be lovely.
That's. Can you say the name of the bread for me?
Focaccia.
Focaccia.
Now wait, we gotta cut Patrice's. All right. Sorry, yeah. The last dish is moving a little bit. Oh,
Aren't you glad we didn't use aluminum? We would have gone right through the side.
I know. Good point.
Try
I
to
will
be-
say, because of the fact that that's like a cream sauce and such, that may not be as forgiving when it comes to
Yeah, that's
being
okay.
dished. Absolutely.
All right. Get yours off the side. a
The
little
first
bit.
piece is always like that, like when you...
Yeah, it's hard to get out.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, that looks good. This is my favorite part here.
Yeah.
The stuff that falls out in the bottom.
That should be
yeah.
for the person that is
This
serving.
server.
No. Oh, that looks really good. Okay. Absolutely. Ooh, delicious. Look at
That
that.
does, yes.
Wow. Came out perfect.
Smell.
They're just amazing.
Delightful.
It just-
They are. They're
Hers, yours does smell so much more fragrant.
It's
It's the like the allspice and
Mhm.
the so good.
But talk about two beautiful looking
I know.
lasagnas.
Wish we had
Nice
more people
job.
here to eat them, but I'm
Oh,
sure
well,
we'll
just has to
find
be us.
somebody here. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
We had fun.
Yeah, we definitely had fun, and maybe you'll see us again.
I'm sure you'll see us again. We have lots of fun things coming up.
Yeah, we have some really fun stuff on the schedule coming up. So
Can we give them a hint?
yeah,
Well, we're going to have a Halloween show.
We're going to have a very fun Halloween show where we make all kinds of crazy, spooky appetizers.
I'm not going to be making mine spooky. Mine's going to be dessert, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay? So until next time, from all of us at Aging Well, thank you for watching us. Any questions or comments or suggestions, please give us a call at 766-3734. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.